Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Alright, it's time for another video advocating about singles equality. Something that always hits me is that I cannot very easily or in a very socially acceptable way ask for accommodations that would really help me as a single guy, right? So, for example, I often miss out on social occasions because I have work commitments and I cannot as easily ask for that as somebody might ask for time off to tend to their spouse or their kids, right? So, what do I mean by that? Well, yesterday I had a little bit of a scheduling problem with a girl that I had met during the back to school events, right? I had hoped to see her, but I had to teach from 1 to 3. She got off school early yesterday and I guess didn't want to hang around. Judging from the way that she texted me, I don't think she was trying to duck me or anything. She just had obviously work and school and decided to take it easy, which is good, which is good. But imagine I tried to go up to my colleagues and ask if anybody would fill in for me, so that let's imagine I try to be honest, right? So that I could go see this girl that I had met at the student union a week earlier, right? First of all, there's a little bit of a taboo, right? I'm meeting with a student, granted not my student, but a student at the college, and so I can't. Just that alone is kind of tricky in its own right, right? And second, there, even if it weren't, right, even if it were somebody else, right, imagine I decide to ask for a few extra days off before or after the spring break because I want to go to Taiwan to meet up with a girl that I met last time I was there. I still don't think that would flow as easily, but my question is why not, right? Meanwhile, all of my colleagues ask me for favors so that they can tend to. I've learned one thing this past year: never give a favor without asking for one back. So I now make it a rule every time my colleague asks me any sort of favor, anything from asking me to fill in for a shift all the way down to asking me to pass the stapler to them. I've learned to always ask for another favor in return of the same magnitude. So, for example, the other day I was on my way to the campus. I get to the door of the technology building and I hold the door for this guy who was moving a bunch of computers. And after I had finished letting him in, I asked him to for some advice on a pickup line that I had planned to use on a girl. And it was actually just before the back to school bash, actually. And I asked him for some suggestions, and he gave me some suggestions. And then I asked him to, after he had set his computers down, I asked him to wave a dislike finger at me, and he asked me why dislikes. I say that I always ask for bad things, so that when bad things come, they're a sign that God is being good to me, and we had a good laugh about that. And I asked him to pray that it doesn't go right with the girl, and so all good. Now, are those prayers any meaningful? Not really. Did his pickup lines really work? Probably not. But it makes people appreciate that they need to reciprocate, right? So it's a very silly one, right? If somebody asked me to fill in for a shift, I would probably say, you know what, come March during spring break, I'd like to have a couple extra days during the break. I'm going to go to Taiwan, and even if they can't do that, right? At least ask. That way they don't feel it. And also, I've learned if somebody asks me to fill in for a shift, and let's say it's really important, right? They really need to take care of something, whether it be let's imagine that, God forbid, my colleague has a spouse who's going through cancer. Their kids are misbehaving and they really need to take care of that, whatever. And I really should be filling in, right? I'll still tell them that, hey, I'm doing this, but I'm really missing out on, I had hoped to go to this date or some kind of dance event or whatever. Right? Make up, even if it's not true. I'm giving up that to fill you in. Maybe next time I want to do something. Please also let's team up, right? And I've learned to do that. That way, it doesn't. The worst thing is to not say that, because in a past lifetime, what has happened is that I'll do a favor that was a little bit out of my way. Usually, it's not terribly out of my way. After all, I'm doing it, right? I wouldn't do this to and miss my grandmother's funeral. Certainly wouldn't do it and jeopardize my health, my safety, right? Obviously, I'm not doing that, right? But it's still out of my way. I'm missing out on social activities. It might be the time of the week for my a meetup group that I want to go to. You get the idea, right? But I'll do it one time and think that I'm doing a good thing. And guess what? I open up my calendar for work, and now I'm scheduled for every Saturday after that, just because I volunteered one time. And so I've learned to, if I do it one time, to quote unquote reluctantly do it, and ask that next time I have something interesting, maybe you could help me out too. Let's give and take, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.